Welcome to another episode of War Hero to Superhero, helping military, veterans, and first responders transform their lives from the bedroom to the boardroom. I am one of your hosts, Daniel Faust. So, we're back in the boardroom for the final day before we go to our exciting, and I love this week, going over and doing our War Hero to Superhero interviews. If you are a war hero to superhero, either military veteran or first responder that has transformed your life, I'd love to go over and interview you. I have one slot available on Tuesday, so that's our quick announcement. Now let's jump into the boardroom into our topic, transformation in the boardroom. And now we'll be talking about balance. We're having problems, but we'll be okay. So, do you love your boardroom? I'd love to go here. Do you actually love your boardroom, no matter if it's virtual or if it's physical? So, I'd like to hear why or why not. Because as I'm going over and seeing, as I'm reading the news and connecting with people and talking to everybody throughout the world, no matter if they're military veteran or first responder, that the stress is mounting. It is just crazy. We got COVID, we got riots, we got virtual school apocalypse, my term at least, for it. And we are just hitting things hard. We don't know if we're coming or going in many different places. So, how do we deal with this stuff? This stuff is just absolutely bonkers to go over and to deal with in life. Well, have no fear because the war hero to superhero is here. Did that little funsy like 80s stuff. We want to empower you to go from surviving to thriving. And the key of going over and doing that is balance. And I wanted to give you some tactics to go over, maybe refresh yourself because a lot of these things might be common sense, but we tend to forget them when stress goes over and happens. No matter if it's virtual boardroom or physical boardroom or a mixture of hybrid on the both, because no matter what it is that when we're stressed, we forget and we tend to go into our stress patterns. So I wanted to give some balance tactics to help you go over and be equipped for the remainder of August and beyond, no matter what goes over and happens, that you transform your boardroom by these tactics. Some of them are going to be directly ones that you might have to take to the bedroom, other ones are to your living room, and specifically other ones are going to be to your virtual boardroom or your physical boardroom. So let's go jump in. And again, this is always a conversation. So always remember, this is a dialogue, never a monologue. We'd love to hear your comments. All right. So number one, balance tactic number one, sleep. When we get stressed, we forget about this. We'll go over a Netflix binge or go over and read or go over and play video games or go do something else in that regard. But the most important way to go over and stay balanced, no matter what the chaos goes over and brings, no matter if you're on the war front or on the home front, no matter if you're in the virtual boardroom or in the physical boardroom, sleep is key. A couple quick tactics. The only things that should be brought to your bedroom is sleep and sex. When you go over and bring other things in there, and I'm guilty of this too, bringing this bad boy into the room, your sleep gets totally messed up. This blue light is very gorgeous, isn't it? But it keeps you awake. It wrecks your circadian rhythms and whatnot. So if all possible, get yourself an old school alarm clock, or maybe as you get your circadian rhythms right, you can get sleep at the same time each and every day. And getting yourself a really comfortable pillow and maybe a weighted blanket, maybe not a weighted blanket, no matter what it is. I know I need to upgrade my pillow because my pillow sucks. So I'm going to go over and do that. If you got any suggestions, love to hear it. But yes, sleep is key. You might need 3 to 4, you might need 5 to 6, you might need 7 to 9, whatever it is, you need to go figure out what's best for you to go over and do that. But consistency is key from waking up to going to sleep. If you need a nap during the day, go over and take a nap. You just, whatever your sleep is, you just need to keep it consistent. If you keep vacillating and going over and changing it, it doesn't do well. Now, understand if you're active duty or if you're on orders, totally understandable, shift work or whatever it is, but whatever shift that you're on, try to go over and still keep to that same sleep schedule and the same sleep habits. Again, sleep and sex in the bed. Anything else, toss out. When you add those rest of that stuff, it's not balanced. Maybe breakfast in bed will work okay. But outside of that, sleep and sex, that's good balance. Balance tactic number 2. We always forget this once we get out of the service or if we're on vacation or under stress, is exercise, exercise, exercise. Again, might be an obvious one to go over and do, but again, when we get under stress, what do we go over and do? We stress eat, we stress binge, we stress out, and the majority of us don't work the stress out by going over and exercising. I highly recommend 20 minutes 3 times a week or more to a moderate to a vigorous pace. If it goes over and you see the struggle of the same old streets, go a different direction. Maybe you go over, maybe go to a different place. That's the great thing about the outdoors is that you can go many places. And it's beautiful in a lot of places. Even Dover has its good days. Like today, wasn't expecting it. So exercise is key. Maybe you need to go inside, do the exercise, or go outside, or maybe you go in the virtual world and go do some boxing or whatever it goes over and is. Exercise is key. If you have small kids, you can add them into the implement. It's kind of funny going over and seeing them doing PT, at least in my opinion. Like my only one of my children can go over and do a push-up correctly, and she's about 10, and the rest of them like, and I'm like, all right, they're getting their workout, and I'm getting my laugh on. So go over and it's key to go over and exercise. And if you can find somebody to go over and do that with, great. Keep your 6 feet of distance if you don't know them like super personally well and they're not immediate family, but you can even work out with people and keep your 6 feet of distance, especially in most of this outside weather right now, outside of California and the lightning strikes and the power outages. Even in those types of stresses, if you get a chance to get outside and to go over and exercise or go inside exercise or grab yourself an exercise bike, or they have gyms that are open now that are keeping social distance. Exercise is key. There's so many different ways. There's even apps to go over and exercise now, and you have no furniture. I've been used to exercise when I was in hotel from night to night. I could go over and grab a chair and go do so. 2 water jugs, weights, whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. So exercise is key. Doesn't matter if you like it or not. It's still good for you. Now, you might hate it initially, but those endorphins, the dose, I can't remember. It's oxytocin, epinephrine, serotonin, dopamine dose. That helps you get a good dose. Almost blinked out there, didn't I? Whee! Tactic number 3, eat well. Not like eat a lot, not like eat a little, not like eat nothing, eat well. Keep your balance in the diets. You'll have to figure out what diet works for you. That pyramid from the 80s that we used to do, probably gone. I don't even know what it is nowadays, the USDA. So many different rules and whatnot. Balanced diet, leverage, good water, lots of water, drinking on a regular basis. Darker vegetables, usually better. I would consume that. I'm not an actual nutritionist, but foods that are more organic, foods that don't have a ton of processed stuff, foods you actually can pronounce. And I don't mean like, hey, pasta shouldn't be difficult for you to go and pronounce, but words that you're reading on there and you're like, I don't even know how to read that. So eating well, definitely key. Goes over and keeps you balanced, especially in this craziness. And if you're in Arizona and if you're struggling on eating well, you can connect with Bernard White. He's one of my friends, and they have people that if you're struggling, they're giving a lot of fresh produce. They're doing that once a week. So connect with Bernard White. He's on our Facebook page. Go over and connect with him. He also is connected with the Easy Way Cares. So if you go to the Easy Way wall and look for Bernard White in the Easy Way Cares, and if you're struggling to not be able to eat well, they give away produce boxes each and every week. They started about 4 weeks ago. It's I think it's Fresh Fit or something. But go over, and if you're in Arizona specifically and you're struggling, it's a good resource to go and connect with. Tell Bernard I sent you. Balance tactic number 4. How about you try a wellness app? There's tons of them nowadays because we finally got a clue to not just work on ourselves physically, but we need to work on ourselves mentally, emotionally, spiritually, socially. So the one that I go over and endorse is Abide. It comes more from a spiritual Christian base, but you also have Calm. They got meditations. They got sleep schedules. So that goes back to balance tactic number 1. Goes over and has topics and guides, easy and portable. And you can go over and try the free version, usually for like 7 days, and they'll give you a couple minutes of meditation. If you want the more higher end version, you go and pay for it. When I did Abide, I did a 7-day trial. I forgot they charged me. Might as well use it. It's free now. So I already paid $40 for it. So try a wellness app. And especially, good for sleep and whatnot. Calm has some really good stories too. They have Matthew McConaughey, for example. You don't realize his voice is so soothing. You're like, Yeah, it's that good. So Matthew McConaughey, real good in that regard. So on the Calm app. So highly recommend it. Also recommend the Abide. Balance tactic number 5. Stay in the now. What do I mean by that? Tomorrow has enough to go over and bring. There's enough worries today. Let's not go over and look at tomorrow. Yes, obviously, you plan your day for the next day and whatnot, but you don't know what's going to go over and happen. News changes, things change. They had the lightning storms in California. You don't know where this world's going to go over and bring. So to keep yourself balanced, look at today and today only. Yes, planning for the future, growing things, business, that type of stuff. But at the end of the day, don't put so much worry that tomorrow is going to be like work out perfectly if you don't do these things. Just focus in the now. I honestly don't know. I have a planned class for my military job from 1 to 3, but I'm not going to stress out if it goes or doesn't go. I've had technology issues and I did IT for 15 years, and you just don't know what is going to be brought to the office. Even when you arrive on time each and every day, you just never know. So just stay in the now, go over and plan on that. And that's how you can go over and thrive and stay balanced. That's what stickies are for. I don't go stress. I just write stickies. Whatever things I need to go over and worry about tomorrow, I put on the sticky and let the RAS filter it out. That's your reticulating activating system that goes over and filters. So I take it from there, I write it down so that I don't have to put it in the long term. Long term is a sticky, digital or paper. So just stay in the now. You don't know what tomorrow's going to go bring. Balance tactic number 6. Fuel your mind with the positive. There is so much negative that can come on this phone or tablet or PC or website. Why not go over and just fuel what you want to be in there? You know? And then if you even are getting to know the news and the real world, only invest 15 minutes in there. And that's it. We rant about stuff all the time. Everybody's doing. We get into the campaigns. We get into all these other things and whatnot. And those things are important. But if we just fuel ourselves with the negative and everything that's broken, we don't have an opportunity to be the positive because we're not fueling our mind with the positive. Mothers Against Drunk Driving went that way. They were ticked off on all the deaths and whatnot. And they fueled themselves with the positive to how to make positive change. So at least if you're going to dive into the negative, go over and figure out how can you go and make it positive. How can you bring a COA? Change of action. Is it change of action? Yeah, I think it is. So fuel your mind with the positive. Maybe it's the Calm app. Maybe it's the Abide app. Maybe it's someone's subscription. Maybe it's watching us. Whatever it goes over and is that go over and fuel yourself with the positive and say those positive things. Like I had somebody goes over and says, I'm a dumb cop. I'm like, that's not positive. You're basically going over and saying that you're that person and you're not. So get rid of those you are negative statements. Don't go fuel yourself with the negative stuff. The cool thing nowadays is you can choose what you're going with. The old school days when I used to watch TV, there was nothing on you. I either had to shut it off or endure it. Now you can contextualize your entire feeds for everything you go and bring in. You can shut off the notifications. If the people that you're with that are not positive and help you growing, the stuff that you listen to is not growing, toss it out. There's a time for negative if it's constructive and it's going over and helping you grow and change. But if it's not that particular garden, it's just toxic, poisonous, draining, wasting your energy, everything else, toss it out. Fuel your mind with the positive. Hopefully that we're positive and you guys continue to go over and watch. But if we're not even positive, toss us out. I'd rather have you go find something that's going to fuel you positively than to go over and to watch just to stay dedicated in that regard. We're hoping that we're positive to go over and do that. But if we're not positive for you and it's not uplifting, it's not helping you grow, chuck it. And even for myself, if I'm not doing that for you, then I need to chuck myself out and go fuel myself with other positive things. All right. Balance tactic number 7, positive distractions. We all get distracted in general. The average person does 5.5 hours of productivity. That hasn't changed that much virtually or in person. They say we're more productive, but people are doing stuff all in between. You go over and you maxi flex or something else in that regard. But the regard of it is that we get distracted. And the average person, if a phone call comes in, an instant message, a text, or anything else, 17 minutes goes over and get lost. And by the time you actually get back onboarded, you know. So you might as well, if you're going to get distracted, put a positive distraction in there. Maybe it's going over and listening to the comment. Maybe it's going over and going to talk to somebody in an office that recharges you. Maybe it's going over and going outside. One of the positive distractions I go and do is actually go to lunch. Crazy, isn't it? And I call it SSNS: sunshine, shade, and sandwiches, because Subway has great sandwiches. So I found a little table outside of the shopette, and I go wrap around there. Usually no one sits there. The table is under a tree. You got the shade, you still got the sun, and then we go eat the sandwiches and then have a conversation, a positive conversation during lunch. And I did that with my wife today. I do it with other coworkers and stuff like that. COVID's safe. If I'm already working with them every day, and the table's big enough to keep that quote unquote 6 feet of distance. And if we absolutely have to, maybe you put on the mask in between. Take a bite. It's crazy. But do some positive distractions. Maybe you need to go over and do a morale day. Like, hey, like once a month we go over and do at my work on a Friday. On the Friday before we do the drill weekend, we go over and we get COVID up and it's safe. We keep our distance, but we connect, we interact, we go over and maybe do cornhole or go over and watch a movie or bring in virtual reality, whatever it is. And we know we're going to be grinding on drill weekend, like crazy insane hours. Like my eyes pop out, crazy insane hours. So bring those positive distractions, bring a morale day back. Maybe make a phone call to somebody, whatever it is, go over, and I encourage you to go over and to do that. All right, let's go into balance tactic number 8. And thanks for the share, Sean. I went over and saw that. It flashed in real quick, so thank you very much. Joyful calendar events. We used to go over and celebrate everything, and now because we're in COVID and virtual school apocalypse, everything else, we celebrate nothing. I literally just had a marriage conference get canceled, and literally I was like, why go over and wait for the event to come to you when you can make the event? So there's calendars that are daily celebrated every single day. We started this when we moved to Dover, and we do 2 days a month and to do those joyful calendar events. Faith has one planned on Saturday, and I think the other one comes up like Tuesday or Wednesday. She chose ones that are really close together. But go look at one of those calendars or go plan something to go over and do. We don't have to wait for a business to go over and do something. Do you know, like, for example, you can get yourself a cheap little like iPhone box projector or Droid projector, put it outside on a sunny day or a star state. Well, it's actually nighttime, and you go over and do that, and you get yourself little $25 JBLs or Sony speakers. And the JBL, there's a certain brand that you can go over and connect up to 50 of them. You can make yourself a drive-through. Bam. I have a cinema projector, so I can definitely do a drive-in. So set up a table outside the garage. Maybe you have to put up a cape on the door or whatever, and we go over and do, and we plug into the power, and then we do popcorn, and we do ices and stuff like that, and do those types of things. And you still can connect to people. Because if your house is big enough, you can do 2 or 3 cars, and you give them a speaker, and then you sanitize the speaker at the end, and they each have their own little drive-in experience. You can still go over and connect. So do some joyful calendar events. We highly recommend, at least our strategy is 12, 70, 5,000. The 12 most important people or families in your life, those are the people you connect with. They say to minimize the social distances in 10 people if it's not immediate family. If I get arrested for this, I'll take it. But the thing is that we need to go over and bring some joy back in our lives. So instead of waiting for the industries to make the events, you make the events. I'd love to go hear what you go over and create. Balance tactic number 9, avoid the media junkie syndrome. I hope we're not the media junkie for you watching us all the time. We want you to stay balanced. That's why we talked about rest last week. But we tend to swipe and swipe and swipe and swipe. I even catch this myself. America's Got Talent. That's my latest media junkie syndrome I have to watch out for. Sometimes it's TED Talks, sometimes it's Dragon Ball Z, but you just keep swiping. It's swiping and swiping. And you think, this is going to fill my void. It gives you a dopamine shot in your mind. You feel like, ooh, I feel a little happy, but we don't feel joyous. And we just keep feeding ourselves. So plan your time to go over and do that. And I'm telling this to myself, is to go over and to avoid the media junkie syndrome. It's good to go over and have fun, but if you just keep scrolling, you're going to scroll your life away. And especially in the boardroom, there's a lot of things we can go over and do in a positive sense, but always remember to, recharge. Stay balanced. Two more. We won't overwhelm you. I know it's been 20 minutes already. All right, balance tactic number 10. Connect. We still have an opportunity to connect with people, see how they're doing. Maybe it's a phone call, maybe it's a text, maybe it's a video call, maybe it's coworkers and you do the 6 feet of distance and you put on the mask and go over and connect. Maybe you find a big enough room and you go over and have a chat. Maybe it's going doing sunshine, shade, and sandwiches, the triple S threat for lunch. No matter what it is, go over and connect people. When people have that physical connection, it definitely keeps you balanced. I know it's a lot harder in COVID, so be wise in choosing the people that are faithful, available, teachable, and servants that are in your life to go and connect with. Because if those people are your in-depth living room and sometimes bedroom relationships, those relationships will refuel you and recharge you to jump back into the boardroom and take that balance and now put it into productivity and overdrive. So remember to connect. And balance tactic number 10, breaks. We can grind out and do tons and tons and tons and tons and tons of things, but most of the time, if you grind out, you'll get burned out. So remember, in this season, no matter if you're virtual or you're physical, in your boardroom, you need to go over and take breaks. Sometimes you just need to go over and do that. So don't abuse it, of course, especially if you're working with a team, and whatnot, but enjoy those breaks. Do something that you thoroughly enjoy. If it's going outside and looking at nature, going on your phone, going over and taking a smoke. I don't endorse smoking per se, but if you're already smoking, why not? I mean, you're already doing it. I can't prevent you to quit. I hope you do, but whatever it is, go take that break, go enjoy. Because usually smokers, they're less stressed than we are, yet they could die. But we all can go over and die. So hopefully as you go over and grow, that you go over and realize that breaks are important. Our kids do them. We do it all. We take breaks even when we don't want to. So why not schedule them out to go and stay balanced? Because getting done stuff at the monitor is great, but the thing is that if you burnt out, you can't do anything anymore. No matter if it's brick and mortar, broadcasting, doing podcasts, no matter what it is. So take your breaks. Woo! Long list, wasn't it? Actually, we've done longer. All right, our superhero challenge of the week. And because we're going into the weekend, we definitely want you to apply this one. This is usually the most important. Thursdays is our big day. Is how do you bring balance to your day, your week, and your month? Join the conversation on the Easy Way wall, on Periscope, on YouTube, on Facebook, even on our page. We love for you to go over and join the conversation. Definitely, because there's no point of going over and watching for 23 minutes and 51 seconds if it's just not applied. AGT is for entertainment. For us, it's infotainment. We give you the info, we make it entertaining for you to go over and to transform from war hero to superhero. Now, if you're struggling in the boardroom or no matter what the room is, we'd love to go and connect with you 20 minutes free. So just connect with us on one of the social media channels. Then we'll get you our phone number and go give you 20 minutes. Every military veteran and first responder free for the first 20 minutes. Love to go and connect. And if you are wanting to take your game to the next level, either becoming a leadership superhero or a marriage superhero, or you really want to get into superhero tactics and you want to whoosh, you can go over and go look at patreon.com/thrive-not-survive. And as low as $5 a month, you can go over and connect with us. We'd love to go over and to help you grow. And the first 1,000 people that are on the Patreon with us, direct access to us. After that, it's not direct access anymore because we need to go over and grow and give you somebody that's dedicated to you. So every 1,000 people that are on our Patreon get direct access to a war hero to superhero consultant. And for right now, that's moi. So you don't have to go over and say like, oh, I wish I could have had, you know, after the 1,000 that we get in the Patreon, it gets loaded. Yep, we get to hire. And that's great because we can go over and grow and take your thriving to the next level. So we encourage you to go over and connect with us, take the superhero challenge, go over and have a great weekend, no matter where it is. And remember, balance is key to go over and to thrive indeed. Thank you much.